It's been a very long time, and maybe the last video I put on my channel was us talking about season 14.
Oh boy.
That was a good long while ago. So we've decided to talk about season 15, apropos of nothing, of Supernatural, of course. And where are we, Anne?
Oh, where are we right now? So we are in Wisconsin, of course, Black River Falls, more specifically. And this is our family cabin slash trailer.
Hunting trailer.
Hunting trailer.
Hunting
yes.
trailer. So it's a
Can
very...
you see the lovely, we have some gorgeous deer on the walls, and our friend here, the black bear, we call him Ned. So Ned the bear is here.
Yeah, it's a very appropriate setting, being in a hunting trailer, to talk about Supernatural.
Yes.
And we're also admittedly a bit toasty since if you go up north, drinking is pretty much the best way to pass the time when you go camping.
Yes. And we've gone to a local brewery and a local winery.
Yeah.
So we've had a very good time this trip.
Yeah. This is water, though. This is not like vodka or anything. All right. So, season 15 of Supernatural, the final season of Supernatural.
Here we are.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it will, of course, actually end this fall, but what do we think of it thus far, the 13 episodes that have been made?
They've been quite a 13 episode arc.
You're not really saying anything specific, are you?
I mean, do you want me to dig into it
Yes,
right away?
That's the whole point.
Okay. Well, I know my sister thinks of the season a little differently than I do. I, at this point in the Supernatural viewing career, which in some cases, let's be real, it's been a job. I feel like, first couple seasons, it's like, oh, I'm brand new here. This is so exciting. It's wonderful. What's going to happen? I don't know. Oh, this is kind of like another job I had, The X-Files. And, oh, it's so great. I love this. Little nods and fun. And, oh, it's just great. And then, we get into the dregs and the drudges and the trenches. And now here we are 15 seasons later. And it's been a wild ride. And I'm at the point now where I just want to cruise through the 15th season and just enjoy it and smile and nod and have some small bits of anger and angst. But I am to the point where Supernatural is no longer the show I once loved, and I feel no longer made specifically for me as it once was. So I am feeling content with the season so far and enjoying the fan service for what it is. Because there's some in literally every episode. And I'm just kind of trying to cruise through, and as long as they don't make something horrible happen or someone die and not come back, which I don't think is going to be a thing anymore. I think we're too far in for that to happen.
The people who die are going to stay dead.
Right. So that's where I am, cruising through. What did I say about the sick donkey or the sick horse?
I don't know, Anne. I don't think that works anymore. You've been drinking too much. But, Anne, you said that this show is no longer made for you.
That is correct. It is no longer made for
Who
me.
do you think it is made for at this point?
It is made for not to denigrate these people, because, you are your own person and be yourself, whatever. But it is made for someone who is going to love no matter what Supernatural the show creates. They are there for Jared. They're there for Jensen. They're there for Misha. They're there to see their beautiful faces. They're there to see them do zany, wacky, cutesy things. They're there to see the fun things like Lindsay from Angel, Christian Kane, come on and sing a little ditty, and then for Jensen to come up and sing and be all sexy. By the way, I love that episode. Don't care. I'm at the point I don't care. It's no longer for a person, me, who
Thinks critically.
yes, who has a critical eye, whose favorite series is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and is very critical about writers, directing. By the way, there has been some really good directing this season and some pretty decent writing, so I don't want to discount that. But overall, I feel like it is more pandery and fan servicey, and for someone who's going to be like, oh my god, Dina's dancing with Garth, this is so freaking cute. Yes, it's cute. Yes, I liked it. Don't care anymore.
Oh my god, I love DJ Qualls. Oh my god, I love Jensen Ackles. This is like so cool.
I love
it's so cool and it's so cute, and aren't they so adorable? Yeah, that's the people who it's made for. I call them, and I think you called them, the convention crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in professional wrestling, there's this term that's called a cheap pop. Like, whenever the person, and it can apply to other, like, types of performance, too, where, like, somebody goes onto the stage in like, concerts or rock concerts. This happens a lot. Like, when we saw Coldplay, and at the end of the concert, Chris Martin says, like, you guys were, you know, the best crowd ever, and you know, all of that, like, you know, are in The Simpsons when they went to rock and roll camp, and Keith Richards said, like, wherever you are, say it's like the rockinest town in the whole damn world, or however he said it. But yeah, like, there is literally no reason besides fan service to have Jen and Danielle in a scene together.
Right.
Like, there is literally no reason for that to exist, but besides to be fan service for the convention crowd. And that's really it. So, Anne, about the convention crowd, like, you've made some observations about, like, the money and stuff that...
Yeah, so something that, so Ellen and I have been to different cons of many different natures, and we have...
I've staffed some cons. I don't think you ever have.
I volunteered. But
Yeah, you volunteered once.
Yeah.
But I've actually staffed and tabled and done shit like that.
Yeah. But anyway, so there, as you all know who are watching this, there are many different conventions for many different sorts of people. Pretty much think of something, it's going to have a convention for it. So, as you may or may not know, if you've looked into the Supernatural cons, the price tag on a convention for Supernatural is extremely expensive.
Exorbitantly expensive.
Yes, it's shocking. And I knew that it was expensive, speaking with other people at different conventions we've been at, and having conversations with them about Supernatural and the conventions that they've been at. But I decided, well, what the heck? I'm going to just kind of look into it a little bit and see exactly how much it will cost. So as I was going through and looking at the different ticket prices, it became very clear very quickly that you could end up spending literally thousands of dollars.
Like $10,000.
At
Like,
a convention
you could spend that.
without even batting an eye.
Yeah. And, you know, that's out of the reach of so many people, where it's like, if you are going to spend that money on Supernatural, you either have so much money where, like, it doesn't matter, or B, you are devoted. Like,
Yeah.
Supernatural has to be your most
The
favorite thing, your thing in life, in the world. And for people who feel that way, you know, live your best life. I
good
have
for
nothing, you know, good for you. You know, if that's, you know, what you want to do, if that's what brings you joy,
Do your thing.
whatever. I could care.
No.
But the thing is, and the point I'm and maybe you are trying to get to, is that at this point, that's who Supernatural is made for.
Totally.
And it is clear in this season that so much of the episodes and so many scenes of the episodes are made for those people, or for the people who wish to be those people, because maybe they themselves don't have the money,
right,
but they aspire to save up all that money and go to a Supernatural convention someday.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like, it's almost insulting if, for a critical viewer, for a critical thinker, where the episode with Jen and Danielle, it's like literally nobody but Lilith and probably Lucifer knew that, like, Lilith was really, Ruby was really loyal to Lucifer the whole time. Like, literally nobody else knew that. But, like, in the episode, Danielle's character, what the hell's her name? Yeah, it doesn't even really matter. I just think of her as, the angel who's Danielle. Jo, Sister Jo.
Oh, yeah, Jo.
Yeah. Right, where she's all like, oh, yeah, I know you're really working for, like, Lilith, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what?
How?
Excuse me, show?
How?
What? Like,
How would...
No!
That was like that was like the whole point of that huge reveal.
Yeah.
Was for us to be completely shocked by it.
And the whole point of Lily and Ruby's relationship.
Right.
And there was a lot of the tension that was created by Ruby was the question of, like, who's she really working for?
What's
her agenda?
Motive?
And for them in that episode, I think that was Destiny's Child that happened in.
I think so.
Yeah, for them to be like, oh yeah, people knew Ruby's real agenda,
right.
Like that was a thing, some people knew, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, what? No, fuck
then
you.
Why, because then why did we as the audience spend so much time in suspense wondering what's going to happen here? This is like a true actual mystery that the series gave to us that I don't know about you, but I enjoyed being like, what's going to happen? What is she going to do? Who is she really loyal to?
How does she really feel about Sam?
Yes. I enjoyed not knowing. I was there for that mystery. And then you're going to go and pull the tablecloth under my feet? No. This is why I have detached myself from this season to just enjoy whatever it may be, because as I've said, this show is no longer made for me.
Or me
either.
Either.
This is not my show anymore. And I still am attached to it greatly, clearly, which is why we're here talking about it. It still is a part of who I am. I still greatly enjoy Sam and Dean and
Cass.
I was going to say Misha. Cass.
Same thing at this point.
Yeah, honestly. The relationships that the three of them have with one another, both on and off screen, the chemistry that the three of them have, I am still here for it. I still show up for it every week. I still have great love for it, but I am able to separate what is happening with how the show used to be. And I would say my kind of line for having a separation that's been growing over the years is season 11. Season 11 was the last season I was truly attached and connected, and I feel like the show was made more for me. And that even was tapering off a bit at that point. But season 12, I was like, bye. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to be interested, but it's not, there's something happening here that's no longer for me. You're not talking to me anymore. But Ellen, isn't there good in this season? I'm making her do it because she's been, what does your button say,
Oh,
Ellen?
yeah. I found this. I'm wearing my, for fans, they sure do complain a lot button. And speaking of conventions, like I got this at an anime convention probably. I think the people who made this button are called It's Super Effective, if I recall. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure like that was the
So they might
company's
have like a Etsy shop or something.
name.
Look them up if you want some.
Yeah,
of their stuff.
they used to go to so many conventions. It's been a while since I've been to an anime convention, and that's where I got this from. But they're probably still around. I mean, they sold a shit ton of buttons. But anyway, so okay, what's good about this show? Well, I guess Jared's acting.
Can we take a minute and talk about Jared gives a shit this season? God bless you, honey. Thank you so much. You are actually bringing it. There are points in this season where I'm like, you're making me feel feelings again. I haven't experienced that in quite a long time. So that's been great. And his facial features, I know that's something that we talked about last time, I think, were very weird and awkward
And spastic.
and did not fit in the scene. That he was like reacting to other things. I don't know what was happening. His facial features, perfect. Totally, he seems like he's in for season 15. He's emoting, which is beautiful. Him and Jensen, I mean, their scenes, even in season 14, were still like
We're
the best
mostly
scenes.
fine.
Yeah, the best scenes that Jared was in. But yeah, so thank you, Jared, so much because you actually give a shit.
Jared
and
must
we can
have been
tell.
like, well, you know what? It's season 15. It's my last season. I might as well just be like, okay, I care.
Yes.
And honestly, versus season 14 where I couldn't really think, I could only think about complaints for season 14. I couldn't really think of many, oh, that was a great episode, that was a great moment, whatever. My favorite moment of the season so far is Adam. First of all, to rewind a little bit, I've always thought that the biggest fault with season 5 is that Adam was never really a character. He just existed basically to be a foil to Dean, and
he was there to serve the story.
He was there to serve the story. He was there as a plot device.
Right.
That's what he existed for, but he was never a character. And whoever the fuck AU might, let's not even get into that garbage.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Let's just blow it away. It's over there.
Yeah.
Whatever. So the actual Michael, who we might have cared about, wasn't really actually a character. But the episode he was in, which I forget the name, it was written by, I wonder if somebody else ghost wrote it, because Buck Lemming supposedly wrote that episode, but it might have been...
But the season in 15 they wrote, or the episode in season 15 they wrote was pretty good.
That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Drinky.
We're on this. I thought you were talking about the other one.
No.
Okay.
Anyway. Right, actually a character. And, with one episode, they made Michael a character. And, they had to bring Adam back. And that's been a joke in the Supernatural fandom for years, that Adam is still in hell. And I know there's that one gif of him dancing, and it says still in hell across his body. And right, so they had to bring him back. And one of the things that I liked is Sam and Dean literally have no excuse for not bringing him back, before this point.
Right.
And the show
Owns
doesn't
up to
hide
that.
from that. Owns up to that. Have Sam and Dean own up to that. And Michael even says, "Oh, so you forgive them?" And Adam's like, "Hell no, no, of course I don't forgive them. Why the fuck would I?" And that's totally valid. And one of the things, a problem that, well, depending on who your favorite of the three is, Sam, Dean, or Cass, like, you might dislike one of the three of those, and fans get angry when whoever their least favorite one, like, escapes consequences. And, like, something that should be treated like a bigger deal is treated like a lesser deal.
Yeah.
But this time it was inverted,
The
where it's
opposite.
like, we're not going to treat this like this isn't a big deal.
Right.
Like, this wasn't a big deal.
You boys fucked up, and you need to own up to it.
Yeah. And, like I said, my favorite moment of the season is when, Dean said, you didn't deserve what happened to you. And the acting of that moment was so beautiful. I'm sorry, the name of the actor blanks on me. But he, like, looks down, looks genuinely sad, and then his face clears, and he says, like, almost like, Buddhist, Zen Nirvana truth is like, since when do we get what we deserve? And, yeah, I'm like, that was genuinely good acting, good writing, good directing, good choice of music. Everything came together to make that moment work. And there have been a few times this season, in season 15, where it's like, wow, they gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, the people behind this, cared
You can tell.
making this, and you can tell.
The music is also good in
Yes.
certain instances.
The music's also been good. Well, okay, let's talk about this right now. All right, so what is the end game? What do we think how this is going to end? Okay.
Unicorn happy fun time.
Okay, really, for serious now, I think it's gonna be, like, as, fluffy as it can possibly be, as, like, happily ever after as it can possibly be, because, we've done, the depressing ending was, like, Kripke's ending.
Yep.
And it's like, and we've already done that. And, or a depressing ending might have been Carver's ending with Dean sacrificing himself. Well, he doesn't really sacrifice himself.
No.
But I don't think Carver would have had a depressing ending either. But Sam, Dean, and Cass, and Jack, if we're going to include Jack,
Jack is in it now.
Yeah. Have all died so many times that if any of the four of them die, and are dead at the end of the show, any emotional resonance or poignance or thematic point that was meant to be made just will have zero impact because they've all died so many times before.
And
at
there's
this
going to
point.
be a way where someone somehow will get them back again.
Right.
Because that's now what we expect from the show.
Yeah, where it's like, if one of them dies, we'll be like, oh, they'll just, come back to life again somehow.
Yeah, even if it's in, like, a random episode, and all of a sudden one of them dies, it's like, oh, okay, well, this isn't even a main plot point of the season.
Anymore.
Like, one of your main characters is dead. We're gonna resurrect you in 15 minutes because we got to get to the next episode.
Right.
So that's not even a thing anymore.
No. And, shoot, I was going to say something. You reminded me of something. You're so smart and pretty. Right, where, like, we just assume that, like, they bring the other one back to life. Even if they said, okay, there's no way, like, we can bring Dean back to life, we can bring Sam back to life, because of how much they've broken the mythology.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, changed the mythology, changed the canon.
The
like,
mythology means nothing.
it means nothing. Like, it's toilet paper. Like, you can
Totally.
literally wipe your ass with it.
Totally.
Like, the bullshit this season of all of a sudden a soul that's been in hell, like, can't go to heaven, and that's a rule now. And they state this as if this has been a rule the whole
thing.
time, and it's like, no. That's wrong. You lie. Stop your lying.
Yeah.
Lie, you always lie. Sorry.
And of course, there have been other instances of this happening where it's like we, the audience, was like, yeah, okay, whatever is just a thing. And then all of a sudden, oh no, wait, there's the empty. We're creating this now because it's convenient for us story-wise.
Yeah.
So this is like another one of the reasons why I have checked out and no longer believe that the show is made for me, is because it's become very convenient.
Right.
It seems like any writer, any episode, if something is not working in their favor, they can just be like, oh, well, we'll just change it. We're just going to make up a magical, weird, crazy thing.
A thingamajig.
Yes. Oh, here's the solution. It's right here. Oh,
Yeah, it's wow. Ooh, look at that. Okay, but to get back on topic, how do we think it's going to end? So, as we said, we don't think either of them are going to be dead at the end of this, because that would be...
And I don't think Cass or Jack either.
No. So, I think Sam and Eileen are going to be together because there was literally no other reason to bring her back to life, as canon breaking as that may or may not be. Which, like, we no longer care.
I like her. It's fine.
We no longer care.
No.
You know, I'm not doing my my complaining. For fans,
Yeah.
they sure do complain a lot,
Yeah.
is what the button says.
It's fine. She's quite lovely. I am a fan. I hard ship them. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Um,
I'm into it.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Sam and Eileen are obviously going to be together. There was no other reason to bring her back to life but to make that a thing.
Right.
Andrew Dabb is a people pleaser, is a crowd pleaser. Like, we can see that Jared and Shoshana have mad chemistry, and, you know, she's a hunter.
Yes.
So if there's, like, a possibility of Sam having a relationship, it's with her. And, of course, there's, like, a funny meta thing, I guess, going on where, like, you know, Sam, all of his ladies die, but this one came back to life.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is going to be the one that sticks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can see that.
And Dean even set it up in
one of the episodes. So, yeah, it's like, it's going to be them. They're going to be happy. And
if they kill her, I will.
Which, like I said, I don't.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So, I ain't even worried.
Yeah, if they did, it would be, yeah.
Anyway. So, but Dean, though, and I have my theory about this. Okay. So, I think it would be very, very funny if, and one of the things that I've wanted for Sam and Dean for years, maybe even when I started watching this show, is at the end of it, like, Sam and Dean would end up on separate paths. Where it's like, you know, they're not, like, separated forever or whatever the fuck. No.
They're still gonna talk all the time.
They're just, like...
It's fine.
They're just gonna, like, do different things. Like, in my head, I always saw Sam as ending up as another Bobby. And, like, he's gonna, you know, like, sort of regenerate, like, the Men of Letters. And make it more geared towards, like, hunters. Because I know that was, like... a divide between the Men of Letters and the hunters. Like, they saw them as, like, grunts and piece of shit and whatever. So, like,
And that's clearly a passion that
right,
Sam is into.
Yeah. So, Dean, I've always seen Dean as hunting because he's really the one who needs to be, like, on the road.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be funny if he would end up with Cass and, like, this is gonna be the funniest thing. They're gonna cloak it in all of, like, this language and romantic imagery, but it's gonna be, like, totally no homo.
Mm-hmm.
And I could totally see that happening. And like, even though I am, Destiel shipper hardcore, and I think it should happen in canon.
Totally.
I'm pretty dubious at this point of that actually
I don't
happening.
think it's going to.
So I think Aunt Dab, who might be like, okay, I want to please the Destiel shippers, but I don't want to make the non-Destiel shippers too angry. So it's going to be no homo, but like they're going to be together hunting, make of that what you will,
The ambiguously gay duo,
yes,
as I like to say.
It's literally going to be the ambiguous.
Yeah.
My God. Yes. The ambiguously gay do. They're extremely close in an ambiguous way. They're ambiguously gay.
That's an old SNL skit, if you don't know, by the way.
We're not that old.
Well, some people might not know.
Yes, it is true. Anyway,
But it's basically Dean and Cass is what it is.
Yeah, and like I said, I could see that happening. Although, what is Cass's true moment of happiness shit gonna be? Because, like, that was...
He's had a truly sad existence, as we talked about.
Yeah, so it's like, what's gonna be his sex with Buffy?
Right.
Which... It's totally what they stole that from, and I remember that scene. I fucking laughed. I'm like, Jesus Christ, and Robert Burns didn't even write that episode. It was another writer, but then again, stealing from Buffy. Supernatural has done that since it aired.
Infancy.
Since its infancy, but still, like, it ain't many times they're that blatant and obvious, and that was the most blatant stealing they've ever done, I think. But anyway, so, yeah, like, what's Cass's, like, great happiness gonna be?
Yeah, and, I mean, it really is sad, obviously, whatever. Like, nobody has a charmed life in Supernatural. Clearly, that's not a thing. But Cass, I mean, can the guy catch a damn break? Seriously. Even when he does get some sort of happiness, or it seems like a storyline could rise to him getting some sort of satisfaction, like the Jack storyline, there comes a bunch of emotional resonance that pushes it back down, and he's in his same, like, this is my shitty eternity mode.
Yeah.
So, and we talked about how maybe, like, his powers fluctuating is going to somehow lead to him being human. Is it going to lead to him, like, being... I don't think he's going to become God. I don't think that's in his thrust. I think likely Jack will, maybe.
Yeah, that's how I think that's gonna resolve
Chuck
itself.
is somehow going to turn himself around and become, like, step into the God that he's always meant to be. But I don't think that's... Originally, I thought that's maybe where they were going, but as we get further into season 15, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, so is Castiel going to become full angel strength again? What is his happiness? What does that look like for him? Because clearly he's going to achieve it as they're, like, the thrust of the narrative is.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I guess it's like, Jack having his soul back, being as he was, and maybe that'll do it. That's my best guess. Besides, like, Dean confessing
Fucking
his
Dean.
love. Yeah. Instead of
Which is
banging
what should have
Buffy,
happened.
it's gonna be banging
Exactly.
Dean. It's gonna be his true moment of happiness.
Should have happened years ago,
Yes.
but,
Anyway, yeah, that's probably what it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be super, like, big or grandiose, but I could be surprised. Like, or, again, maybe it'll be, like, no homo Destiel, and like I said, they'll just cover it in metaphor, cover it in subtext.
Yeah, I think that's
and it'll
probably
be totally insulting.
A very likely...
it could happen.
Yeah.
I think it's probably, like, Jack being fine and having his soul back and that crap.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
to close. Anything else we really want to say? So we think it's gonna end like Sam and Eileen endgame, Dean going off to hunt with Cass. That's our predictions. Jack ending up as God, probably.
Probably, yeah.
And maybe like the darkness, because Amara is clearly in play.
Yep.
So like maybe, you know, maybe
think
she'll not exist either, and somehow like Jack will absorb both of them.
I could see that.
Like, yeah, I could see stuff like that happening. I mean,
But I do think Amara will have more play.
yeah,
for
yeah.
Sure.
But
Her storyline isn't complete yet.
But yeah, like clearly, in any case, Jack is the key to like ending the main conflict of the last season, which is God as a villain.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a huge fan of, honestly. But again, it's one of those things where we're like, we'll enjoy the things we like and just, you know.
But
we've accepted the show is no longer made for critical thinking, and you know, whatever. That ship has sailed. That's not something we're going to concern ourselves with anymore.
Right. And I will say, now here being in season 15 as we are, there is it is very liberating to view the series now for what it is. Because I do still find enjoyment. There are still very well written and directed episodes. There are very well acted episodes, and some scenes where I'm like, holy shit, that was awesome. Some lines that are delivered, I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels like season 5 again. Like, this is just so wonderful. So I do think that everyone has showed up for this season. They are there for it. They want to deliver something that the fans enjoy, not necessarily me being the fan that they're directing this season at, but I'm going to take it for what it is, because there is some real greatness that I still can see here.
Yeah, I guess to close, and it's something I said to you before, like, I think a lot of people who maybe enjoy the show a little more than we do will kind of view this as I personally view Star Trek Voyager, where I love Voyager. I really do. In some ways, it's my favorite Star Trek series, especially because Anne and I, like, that was the Star Trek that Anne and I watched together and that we talked about. And at first, because we started out watching it with our dad, he stopped caring about it, but we kept watching it and still kept talking about it together. And like, I feel like a lot of people will have that nostalgic love for Supernatural, where it's like they love it, they have emotional connection to it, but they can also see how it's deeply flawed in a lot of ways, like I do about Voyager. I could talk about Voyager's faults as much as I can talk about the good things about it.
Totally.
And I feel like that's how a lot of people, besides like the super convention fans, besides those people, how most people will end up feeling about Supernatural. And I think that'll end up being its legacy for most of the people who enjoyed it. Like I said, there'll be and you know, there are a bunch of fans at this point. There are probably just as many people who are watching the show now as people who, like, somewhere along the way quit watching it because, like, something, you know, pissed them off, or they thought was so dumb, or that the quality has fallen off so much where they're like, okay, fuck this show now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so there are going to be people who hate it and like said, oh, it should have ended at, you know, season 5. Most people, maybe even some people, oh, you know what, it could have existed longer, like season 11 it would have been okay if it would have ended then.
Why didn't it end at season 11?
And that's us and how we feel mostly. But yeah, like, I think that the people in the middle will, like I said, have that kind of, for us, Voyager view of Supernatural.
Totally.
Okay, so that's all.
Thank you for your time today. Isn't the bear cool?
Ned the bear says, be good.
Yes.
Stay out of trouble.
Okay, stay safe, be healthy, sayonara, and auf Wiedersehen.